Hello friends, welcome to my channel Computer Science Lectures. Today we will discuss about basic components of electronics. So let's start. Our first component is resistors. As the name implies, resistors add resistance to the circuit and reduces the flow of electrical current. It is represented in a circuit diagram as a pointy squiggle with a value next to it. The different markings on the resistor represent different values of resistance. These values are measured in ohms. Resistors also come with different wattage rating. For most low voltage DC circuits, 1/4 watt resistors should be suitable. You read the values from left to right towards the gold or silver band. Here you can see in the image one resistor is there and you should start reading values from the first band, which is brown, second is black, third one is orange, and last one is gold. So the first two colors represent the resistor value. In this case, brown and black represents the resistor value. The third value represents the multiplier, and the fourth, gold or silver band, represents the tolerance or precision of the component. Here it is given gold band. You can tell the value of each color by looking at the resistor color value chart given here in the first image. Or to make your life easier, you could simply look up the values using a graphical resistance calculator which is available online. I will give link in the description below. Anyway, a resistor with the markings brown, black, orange, gold will translate as follows: 1 for brown, 0 for black, which forms a digit 10, which is multiplied by 1000, which is the value of orange, is equals to 10,000 with a tolerance of plus or minus 5%. Any resistor of over 1000 ohms is typically shortened using the letter K. For instance, 1000 would be 1K, 3900 would be translated to 3.9K. Our next component is capacitor. A capacitor is a component that stores electricity and then discharges it into the circuit. When there is a drop in electricity, you can think of it as a water storage tank that releases water when there is a drought to ensure steady stream. Capacitors are measured in farads. The values that you will typically encounter in most capacitors are measured in picofarad, nanofarad, and microfarad. These are often used interchangeably and it helps to have a converger chart at hand. You can see this conversion chart in the first image. Most commonly encountered types of capacitors are ceramic disc capacitors and electrolytic capacitors. We'll talk about ceramic disc capacitors first. These capacitors look like tiny M&Ms or gems with two wires sticking out of them, and electrolyte capacitors look more like a small cylindrical tubes with two wires coming out of the bottom. Ceramic disc capacitors are non-polarized, meaning that electricity can pass through them no matter how they are inserted in the circuit. They are typically marked with a number code which needs to be decoded. This type of capacitor is typically represented in a schematic as two parallel lines. You can see in the second image there is a symbol for non-polarized means ceramic capacitor, which is represented by two parallel lines. Electrolytic capacitors are typically polarized. This means that one leg needs to be connected to the ground side of the circuit and the other leg must be connected to the power. If it is connected backwards, it won't work correctly. Electrolytic capacitors have the value written on them, typically represented in microfarad. They also mark the leg which is connected to the ground with minus symbol. This capacitor is represented in a schematic as a side-by-side straight and curved line. The straight line represents the end which connects to the power and the curve connected to the ground. You can see in the second image itself the symbol for polarized, which is the symbol for electrolytic capacitor. Our next component is diode. Diodes are components which are polarized. They only allow electrical current to pass through them in one direction. This is useful in that it can be placed in a circuit to prevent electricity from flowing in the wrong direction. Another thing to keep in mind is that it requires energy to pass through a diode, and this results in a drop of voltage. This is typically zero point 0.7 volt. This is important to keep in mind for later when we talk about special form of diodes called LEDs, light emitting diodes. Refer this image. Here you can see a ring found on the right end of the diode, which indicates the side of diode which connects to the ground. This is cathode. It then follows that the other side connects to the power. This side is anode. The part of the number of diode is typically written on it, and you can find out its various electrical properties by looking up at its datasheet. The symbol for diode is written here. It is like a line with a triangle pointing at it. The line is that side which is connected to the ground, and the bottom of the triangle connected connects to the power. Next is transistors. A transistor takes in a small electrical current at its base pin and amplifies it such a manner so that the large current can pass between its collector and emitter pins. The amount of current that passes between these two pins is proportional to the voltage being applied to the base pin. There are two basic types of transistors, which are NPN and PNP. These transistors have opposite polarity between collector and emitter. NPN transistors allow electricity to pass from the collector pin to emitter pin. They are represented in a schematic with a line for a base, a diagonal line connecting to the base, and diagonal arrow pointing away from the base. You can see this in the image given. PNP transistor allow electricity to pass from the emitter pin to the collector pin. They are represented in a schematic with a line for a base, a diagonal line connecting to the base, and the diagonal arrow pointing towards the base. Transistors have their part number printed on them. You can look up their data sheets online to learn about their pin layouts and their specific properties. Be sure to take note of the transistor's voltage and current ratings as well. Next is integrated circuit. We commonly call it IC. An integrated circuit is an entire specialized circuit that has been miniaturized and fit into one small chip with a leg of chip connecting to point within the circuit. These miniaturized circuits typically consist of components such as transistors, resistors, and diodes. Like transistors, you can learn all about integrated circuits by looking up their datasheets. On the datasheet, you will learn functionality of each pin. It should also state the voltage and current ratings of both chip itself and each individual pin. Integrated circuits come in a variety of different shapes and size. As a beginner, you will be mainly working with DIP chips. These have pins for through-hole mounting. As you get more advanced, you may consider SMT chips, which are surface mount soldered to one side of circuit board. The round notch on one edge of the IC chip indicate the top of the chip. The pin to the top left of the chip is considered the pin 1. From pin 1, you read sequentially down the side until you reach the bottom, that is pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, pin 4. Once at the bottom, you move across to opposite side of the chip and then start reading the numbers up until you reach the top again. Keep in mind that some smaller chips have small dot next to pin 1 instead of notch at the top of the chip. There is no standard way that all ICs are incorporated into circuit diagrams, but they are often represented as boxes with numbers in them. So that's it for today. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. If you have any queries, please comment down in the comment box. Thank you.